This is not just another crime story. This is the story of silence, of deception, and of a baby whose final cry for help was heard by no one that could help. A child who should have been protected, loved, and cherished, but instead was hidden behind lies until it was too late. 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro vanished in August of 2025, and his disappearance sparked headlines across California. At first, the story sounded like a nightmare any parent would fear, a sudden attack in a parking lot, a baby gone without a trace. But days later, that version of events began to fall apart. Then came something even more shocking, a phone call. Not just any call, but a leaked recording said to capture Emmanuel's parents speaking with a neighbor. A conversation that, if authentic, could expose the cracks in their story and reveal the truth they tried to hide. Have you ever wondered how far someone might go to cover their tracks when the truth threatens to surface? That's what makes this call so important. Before we get into it, please subscribe and let me know in the comments, should leaked calls shape how we see an open case? Emmanuel Haro was only 7 months old, a tiny baby with his whole life ahead of him. He lived with his parents, 32-year-old Jake Mitchell Haro and 41-year-old Rebecca Renee Haro, in the Cabazon and Moreno Valley area of Southern California. On the outside, theirs looked like a quiet family home. But behind closed doors, the reality was far more troubling. Jake already had a history that raised alarms. Years earlier, he was convicted of child cruelty in a separate case involving another child. That conviction left lasting scars and would later be used by prosecutors to argue a clear pattern of behavior. It set the stage for why investigators quickly looked deeper when Emmanuel was reported missing. On August 14, 2025, Rebecca called authorities with a chilling story. She claimed she had been attacked in a Yucaipa parking lot while changing Emmanuel's diaper. When she came to, she said, her baby was gone. The tale was terrifying, the kind of nightmare any parent fears. But something about it didn't add up. Detectives began looking closer. Witness statements didn't match Rebecca's account, and physical evidence didn't support the abduction she described. Within days, suspicion turned directly toward the parents. Soon after, both Jake and Rebecca were arrested on charges of murder and filing a false report. It was the first major turning point in the case, but the real shock was still to come when talk of a leaked phone call hit the public. Just when the community thought they had heard it all, whispers of a shocking phone call began to spread. Social media lit up with claims that recordings of a conversation between Emmanuel's parents and a neighbor had surfaced online. For many following the case, this was the moment everything changed. The first posts appeared on smaller news pages and commentary channels. Short clips, grainy in quality, allegedly captured Rebecca and Jake speaking with a neighbor not long after Emmanuel disappeared. People who heard the clips described the exchange as tense, almost confrontational. The neighbor seemed worried, asking about the baby, pressing for answers, while the parents sounded defensive, their words vague and uneasy. One version of the audio suggested the neighbor brought up noises in the house or even concerns from a previous welfare check. Another version painted a picture of parents dodging questions, giving half answers that raised even more suspicion. Each upload added fuel to the fire, and soon the recordings were circulating everywhere, shared, reposted, and dissected by thousands of online users. But here's the problem. None of it has been officially authenticated. Mainstream outlets covering the case made it clear the recordings may be real, or they may have been edited, twisted, or even fabricated. Still, for the public, hearing those voices was enough to cement doubt about the parents' story. And so the question grew louder, was this phone call the missing piece of truth, or just another layer of rumor in a case already drowning in speculation? Now, let's listen to the leaked voice call. This is the voice of Emmanuel Haro's parent and a neighbor who lives opposite.
I can't imagine, I try to put myself in that. I'm like, I know they're up. We know they're up. They're not sleeping, we were up too. And, we're just like,
We're exhausted.
I know, I bet.
Partially to move,
Where were you at when this happened?
I was at the park. I was at the park watching my son play football. Well,
That's how I am too. I go sore.
It was horrible.
It does.
Worst feeling ever.
It is.
Been balling or so.
No, you're just numb right now.
Yeah.
You're just numb, you know?
The cops were treating us was horrible.
Really?
Yeah. It's been a
You don't want to let us know nothing? No.
There are a lot of good cops there. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
They're just doing their job, but it's a horrible feeling, you know?
No, yeah. So I seen that in the picture, like your baby was something wrong with the eyes. Is that what they're saying?
A little crazy eye.
Okay.
But it's getting corrected, and he was correcting.
No, he was on no medication or nothing. Okay, so
He's a healthy baby, so his little eye sometimes goes.
yeah, my daughter was like that too. Yeah. So
She was on medication for her eyes?
yeah.
What was she?
Well, she had a genetic. It was a genetic disease. It was in December. That's when like it's cold, you know.
That's when they-
Before we go further, let me ask you, if you heard a leaked recording like this, would you believe it right away or wait for investigators to confirm it? Once the alleged phone call hit the internet, it became impossible to contain. Social media turned the case into a battlefield of opinions. True crime forums, commentary channels, and TikTok investigators replayed the clips frame by frame, voice by voice, analyzing every pause and every word. Some people swore the recordings were authentic, pointing to the tone of the parents' voices as proof that they were hiding something. Others argued the audio could have been edited, chopped, or even staged to stir outrage. But whether true or not, the damage was done. The court of public opinion had already passed its verdict. Comment sections filled with anger, disbelief, and heartbreak. Many demanded justice, while others urged caution, reminding everyone that Emmanuel was still missing and that gossip wouldn't bring him home. The leaked call had shifted the spotlight. No longer was the focus just on the search for a baby, but on the credibility of his parents and the role of online leaks in shaping truth. It showed one undeniable fact: once a case hits social media, the narrative is no longer controlled by investigators alone. While social media argued over the leaked call, law enforcement had to tread carefully. Detectives confirmed they were aware of the audio but refused to say whether it was authentic. Their message was clear: internet speculation couldn't replace real evidence. Officers close to the case explained that a recording circulating online, even if genuine, would need to be verified, cross-checked, and placed in context before it could ever hold weight in court. Investigators stressed that rushing to judgment could harm the search for Emmanuel and complicate the case against anyone eventually charged. Still, the leak forced them to adjust. Every interview, every statement from the parents, was now viewed under a harsher spotlight. Questions they might have answered once were suddenly being asked again, but this time with a more skeptical edge. Detectives reportedly revisited timelines, re-interviewed neighbors, and looked for any connection between the leaked call and the parents' original account. Behind closed doors, pressure mounted. The longer Emmanuel remained missing, the more the public demanded answers. And with the leaked call fueling suspicion, investigators had to weigh two parallel battles: the search for a child and the need to protect the integrity of a case now playing out on smartphones across the country. In the end, law enforcement's position was steady but firm. Evidence, not rumors, would solve this case. The leaked call didn't just rattle investigators, it tore through the community like a storm. On one side were those convinced the audio was the smoking gun, proof that the parents had lied and that neighbors had long suspected trouble. They gathered at vigils, held posters with Emmanuel's photo, and voiced anger that warning signs had been ignored. On the other side were people urging caution. They reminded others that no one had verified the call, and that rushing to judgment could destroy reputations before the truth was established. For them, the case became a test of patience, a reminder that justice had to be built on facts, not gossip. But in homes across Moreno Valley and beyond, the story struck deeper. Parents held their own children closer, shaken by the thought of a baby slipping through the cracks of protection. Social media fed this emotional divide, with hashtags, trending clips, and debates that rarely ended in agreement. In the middle of it all was Emmanuel, a child whose absence left a void too painful to ignore. The leaked call may have been unverified, but its impact was real. It made the case personal for everyone who listened. At the heart of all the noise, arguments, and leaked audio remains one haunting truth. A baby is gone, and answers are still out of reach. Emmanuel Haro never had the chance to grow up, never had the chance to speak for himself. What remains are the voices of adults, parents, neighbors, investigators, and strangers online, all trying to piece together a story that still feels incomplete. The leaked phone call may be disputed, but its effect cannot be denied. It forced people to confront the possibility of lies, neglect, and silence where there should have been love and protection. As this case moves through the courts, one thing is certain: Emmanuel's story deserves to be remembered, not lost in rumor. What do you think? Should leaked calls like this shape public opinion, or should we wait for the courtroom? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe.